Can you tell me your full name, please?
Sure, Natalia Moreno.
Can I see your identification, please, Natalia?
Here's my passport.
That's fine, thank you. Now, in this first part, I'd like to ask you some questions about yourself. Let's talk about where you live. Where is your home city?
Uh, my home city is Bogota, and that's the capital city of Colombia, and it has around 8 million people. Um, yeah, so I was born there now.
What's special about your home city?
Well, as you may know, Colombia is quite near the equatorial line, which means most of the country has tropical weather, but Bogota is up in the mountains, is 2,600 meters above the sea level, which means it has cold weather around the year. Um, so it makes it different from most of the other cities in the country, as it's cold and it's up in the mountains.
Would you like to change anything in your home city?
Oh, yes. Well, uh, there is a lot of traffic. I think the roads are not good enough, and all the places to go to work are centralized in one part of the city, which means that all the people spend a lot of time commuting to work, and also you see a lot of poverty in the streets, and I think maybe the central government and the local government should create more opportunities for those people who live in the streets or are just informal sellers in the streets.
Let's talk about parks and gardens. How often did you go to a park when you were younger?
Well, I grew up next to a park, um, so I think I would go nearly every day. Um, yeah, it was basically next door from our house, so I would imagine I would go every day.
Why?
I think it was easier for my parents just to let us play outside, burn some energy. And there were other kids same age as us, me and my siblings, so I think that was easy just to go outdoors and play.
And do you enjoy visiting parks now?
Yes, I quite like parks. Um, last year I was living in Beijing, right in front of Chaoyang Park, and that's amazing because you can see different types of vegetation, how they change around the seasons, and there is also a lot of activities to do. Just go for a walk, or go running, or just sit down in a bench and look at the lakes. And yeah, I found it quite pleasant.
Do you think your city has enough parks and gardens?
I'm not sure about gardens. I know we have like botanical gardens, which are amazing, but it's just one like clear garden that I have in mind. Um, about parks, I will say yes. I think every neighborhood will have a park where people can go and do some sports or go for a walk. So, in general terms, I will say yes, we have enough parks. Maybe we would need more gardens.
Now I'm going to give you a topic and I'd like you to talk about it for 1 to 2 minutes. Before you talk, you'll have 1 minute to think about what you are going to say. You can make some notes if you wish. Do you understand?
Yeah,
Here's some paper
thank you.
and a pencil for making notes.
Okay.
And here is your topic. Please don't write on the booklet. I'd like you to describe the sport that you most like watching.
Mm.
Okay, so remember, you have 1 to 2 minutes for this, so don't worry if I stop you. I will tell you when the time is up. Can you start speaking now, please?
Okay, so, well, to be quite honest, I'm not a person who enjoys watching sports, but I must confess, when I see in the TV, in the Pan Americans, or in any other kind of international contest, gymnastics, that always caught my eye. Um, I quite remember last year the Pan American Games. I spent like almost a week, the entire week, watching at the different competitions in gymnastics. And the reason why I like gymnastics is because I think it has a combination of art and strength. And personally, I used to do gymnastics when I was a child. So I understand all the concentration it takes, and those movements that seem to be so soft, they require a lot of strength and concentration and hard work. And as a total, I will say gymnastics are astonishing. And when I watch them, it always takes me back to the time when I used to do gymnastics. Um, so yeah, from all the sports that are out there to watch, I will say gymnastics, especially rhythm gymnastics, are my favorite. Um, Also, when you see all these little girls, they need to choose the special song, the outfit. So it's a marvelous spectacle for me, and I really enjoy it. Um, what else can I tell you about gymnastics? Oh, I did participate.
Thank you very much. Can I get the booklet and the paper and pencil back, please? Do you enjoy playing any sports?
Playing, yeah, I mainly like individual sports. So I like swimming. I like doing yoga.
Okay, thank you. We've been talking about the sport that you most like watching, and I'd like to discuss with you one or two more general questions related to this. Um, First, let's talk about professional sports people. Why do you think the top sports people are paid so much?
Well, I think the media and the marketing has a lot to do with that. I don't think it's much about the sport. It's about propaganda and getting people to spend money buying the brands that these people wear.
So you don't think that these top sports people deserve the amount of money they get paid?
To be quite honest, no, I think it's quite unfair. I think there are other people doing different jobs which are more meaningful, such as doctors or researchers should, should be paid much more instead of sports people.
Okay, so do you think there should be a limit on how much a sports person can earn?
Yes, I mean, that's could be a good idea, like a way to regulate how much marketing people can, well, companies can put into sportsmen. So we don't have these ridiculous salaries for someone who's just kicking a ball.
And why do you think that governments are reluctant to do that?
Well, I think mm, it's about capitalism. It's about selling brands, companies. So it's about the current kind of liberal economy that most of the countries have.
Are there any disadvantages of being a top sports person?
Well, I imagine you wouldn't have much of intimate or privacy life. You, I mean, I really don't care, but you always see those magazines trying to make stories about personal life of sportsmen or famous people. So that would be a disadvantage for me.
Let's talk about extreme sports. Why do you think extreme sports are growing in popularity today?
Well, I think nowadays it's much easier to travel and to explore different parts of the world. So, I mean, climbing or hiking or skiing has become much more.
So it's to do with how accessible these sports are now, rather than a change in people's um, outlook or people's attitude towards them.
Well, I think again, it's about market. If people just see they can do it, and there is a trip, there is someone marketing, and they have outdoor shops, so just people will go for it.
But these sports can be risky, can't they? Extreme sports.
Yeah, of course, of course. I have seen some of these documentaries about people who goes climbing and go these kind of disease when you climb up the mountain and just start losing your conscious. Um, but I don't know. I really don't know much about it.
Why do people do risky sports, extreme sports?
Well, I guess this is a kind of adrenaline in it. Because I haven't done it before, but I imagine if you're climbing the Himalaya or something, when you're about to reach the peak of the mountain, it has to be really exciting. Maybe it creates an addiction to that sensation, that feeling of danger.
And some people think governments should ban the most dangerous extreme sports. Do you agree?
Um, Well, yes, I think it should be more regulated the way they are marketed because maybe people sign up for something without knowing the consequences. Um, so I think there should be more regulated, like more warnings about so people know what they are signing in for. Not ban it completely because there are people who will be willing to take the risk and they understand. Maybe they are quite professional. They just want to go for it.
Mm. And why do you think that some people have that characteristic and some people don't?
Well, there are people who are risk takers, others no. So, it's like life characters.
Mm.
People who think
And do you
differently.
think that that's a kind of natural instinct, or something that people acquire as they grow up?
Um, well, I haven't read much about it, but my feeling is something you are born with. Like you see children who are raised in the same family, and one of them just is a naturally a risk taker, and the other one who's been raised under the same house, same rules, has quite different attitude towards risk.
Thank you very much. That's the end of the test.
Okay.